Hello, everyone. We are here. We're back on the Ham and Turkey podcast, owned by the Ham and Turkey Group. We're starting to be more consistent, give you guys more shows where we talk sports, dating, and everything in between. Similar with Ham and Turkey Sandwich, where we talk about everything and there's everything on a Ham and Turkey Sandwich. So, I have two other people here with me today because we're going to get into some sports topics and we're going to get into some dating topics today. So I'm going to introduce myself first, and I'm going to have my two co-hosts introduce themselves. So I am EJ Daniels, just like you see right there on the screen. If you want to interact with me, you can find me on X at eDaniel77. Just a little bit of my background. I worked in the football field. I cover high school football in New Jersey. I worked for Rutgers and Penn State, covering their recruiting through rivals. And I also work on the NFL level doing data analytics. So I just kind of cover everything football and know a little bit of my credentials. So next we'll have Prime introduce himself, then we'll have Chester introduce himself.
All right, yeah. So it's Steve, but most know me as Prime. You can find me on X at Prime22. Um, I'm the basketball guy, like a coach. I coach varsity. I train. I'm a skills trainer. I work at a sports performance gym. Uh, I played pro. I've been to five different countries. We still rolling, but we gonna see how that go. Um, and then yeah, I'm just like EJ, like you said, he pretty much everything football. I'm pretty much everything basketball when it comes to um my background. So
I didn't know you
oh
played in five countries.
yeah, well we at Australia, England, Ireland, Canada, and Dominican.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So we got a professional basketball player in the building. And now Chester, let the people know who you are. We know we can't see you, but let the people know where they can find you and give them a little bit of your background.
Um, Chester Mathis. I'm on X. Chester Matt 89155. I'm gonna probably change the name pretty soon. Um, I don't have the credentials as Prime or EJ, but I can hoop, or I could.
Yes.
So just
Yes.
just that. But I'm just here to talk sports and life with anybody.
And that's what we're here to do. Debate style, conversation style, just show our versatility with all these topics. That's what we're going to discuss today. So, as we get into it, man, because we don't want to prolong this too long, we don't waited too long to get back into podcasting, man.
Right,
So,
right.
today we had three specific topics for you today. Again, two on basketball, one on dating. And the first topic was fueled by a conversation that we had in our group chat today. And the conversation is very simple and is just, is Juju Watkins like that? The question is Juju Watkins like that? And this question is coming at a very interesting time in women's sports where private equity is starting to invade women's sports because of the explosion between Caitlyn Clark and Angel Reese, fueling college basketball to where it currently is right now. And then you got the next star in Juju Watkins coming in, and she's gonna be the next great, one-on-one player, so to speak. And she's gonna be, I don't think she's gonna be on Caitlyn Clark's level in terms of popularity, but she will be the next great actual hooper, like actual player. So the question for Prime, because you, Esther, was the ones who kind of sparked this whole thing, is Juju Watkins like that?
Nah, she definitely like that. And like I was saying, in the chat, like I've been following Juju since she was in like 10th grade. I stumbled across her on low key on accident, trying to when I was training myself and also just looking up stuff, for training. So I came across her in a video, but then I started following her through her high school career or whatever, and then like my I feel like I have a real good sense of when it comes to eye test, right? So like I seen her in a training video and I'm like, oh nah, she a little different. Then I seen her play and I'm like, nah, she really like that. Like so when I say that she like that is because she I'm saying that because I'm looking at it from a perspective of uh where she's at and what she's been doing at the age that she is, right? So I told people last year, I was like, she the best player in the country. Even when Caitlyn was doing, I was like, she the best player in the country. I wasn't looking at it as like, was she better than Caitlyn right now? I'm like, by the time she get to where Caitlyn at, right, like her junior year, senior or whatever, like she gonna be like, she gonna be that for real. Like she's really gonna be that girl, that it girl, that the the one that they talking about 24/7 on ESPN and all that. So I'm like, I've been boosting her, and but I feel like she showed up, and it got the conversation got uh we started really debating because it was like, did she do that last year? And I'm like, yeah, she did that last year, and I was like last season. But I also know that her team wasn't that, like really that great for real. Like I feel like that USC team, yeah, that USC team had no business making it to the Elite Eight, and the only reason why they made it is because Juju was on that team. Juju not on that team. We not even talking about them. They not even in that team.
I also want to just add to that I do agree with you. They probably shouldn't have been in the Elite Eight. I will also say Juju kind of fuels into that a little bit because of the way that she plays. Chester, you had an objection to this. What was your objection?
My objection was just I don't like he stated that they didn't make it because of her, but they won some pretty impressive games with her shooting just horrible. And that's her job is to put the ball in the basket. But in those games that she wasn't putting the ball in the basket, they still somehow figured out a way to win. So I just wasn't rolling with the excuse that as a team that they I understand that she plays her role. She probably definitely I wouldn't say probably she definitely took some pressure off of players, but they still got it done when she wasn't showing up. And that was my whole thing. She had good games. She had some amazing games, but she just had as many bad games as that as well. And that was my whole thing
And
with it.
and that's where we was going, where we wasn't agreeing because like it wasn't that many bad games. It was it was a lot. It was like out of the 36, I think 7 of them she had under 20 points, and I'm counting the one where she had 19. So like I was but and then it got to because I'm the guy that don't do stats. Like I don't be talking about stats because I can give you a whole spiel on why I don't talk about stats because stats can be misleading. I can make stats look like whatever I wanted to look like if I really wanted to. So but like go ahead, Chess.
I was counting. Go ahead. I
Oh,
thought I was on mute.
um, but so when I say that it's because of Juju, yeah, every team is going. I'm not saying her team was downright horrible. I'm just saying that if she's the superstar on that team doesn't beat Stanford early on if she doesn't play. That team's not beating the top four, the number 4, the number 11, the number 2. Like they not beating those teams without Juju Watkins. That game when she had 9 points and they pulled out a win, she actually was more a distributor because they was double and triple teaming her. She was actually making right, like I don't want to say distributing because the on the like once again the stat line don't show how many
Yeah, it's only she
assists.
only had one assist that game.
Right. But if you watch the game, she was actually passing out of these double and triple teams, and you're not gonna get the hockey assist. You're not gonna get the assist where the girl got a dribble because you only could get 2 dribbles after a pass, and it count as an assist. So it when it shows that she only had one in that game, she was actually like being a decoy. She wasn't shooting well at all, but she was doing things where it took the pressure off. They game planned against her specifically, and her team that day stepped up. I think it was the girl from Harvard because she had like three. It was three transfers, Ivy League transfers, and I think it was the one girl from Harvard. She stepped up in the NCAA championship. I mean, in the NCAA tournament too. But her they that team. It's not too many outside of I think Paige Becker and Paige, Juju, and Caitlyn probably the only ones that could have took that team to the Elite Eight.
I understand
Where,
that, but
no,
shooting
go ahead,
thirteen
Chess.
percent, but shooting 13% and having 6 turnover, it don't matter how many hockey assists you did. Your team covered for you.
Yeah, like they were supposed to. Now, if that team did that more often, they probably would have been. They would have got past Caitlyn, Paige, and all, and them in that Elite Eight game.
I mean, she shot pretty horrible the whole. I just my thing is when she played against, I felt like Juju feast on bad teams, and she, like I said, she put 51 on a great team, on the Stanford team that was ranked fourth in the country. So it's not she can't put the ball in the basket, but at some point, when you playing them better teams, you can't shoot 36%. You can't shoot 28% back to back games. You can't do that if you the star.
Yeah, but she also was even in that though. She was putting up 25 plus in all of them games. All them games she put.
She
I,
is, but she's also taking 25 shots to get
yeah,
that. You get credited for two for each made basket.
Yeah, if you watch those games, like I was saying in the chat though, it's games where, yeah, you gonna shoot those because I'd rather Juju shoot them than somebody else.
I understand that. But I just don't think that's a winning formula, and I'm not gonna put you on the top of the list if that's your shooting percentage against the best teams. If that's what your shooting percentage is against the best and the worst, then I can live with that. But when you shooting 50%, damn near 60% from other teams, and then you
Nah,
come against those bigger teams, she
she wasn't
definitely
she
had
ain't
sixty
never
percent
shoot that
games.
much. Her, I think her biggest. I don't even think I think she shot 50% once. She was shooting 40%, 40 and 44, between 40 and 44 against most teams. That was
She
just
shot she
that's just her
shot
thing.
She shot
54,
50% 3 times.
Three.
and then she shot 60% once. 50. No, she shot 50. She shot 75%. She shot 50% like 6 games. But that's what I'm saying. These are
But it's
only against those bad teams.
but it's 36 games. So out of 36 games, she shot six of them where she shot a high clip.
Yeah, but that's never against some of the better teams. That's what
Right.
I'm
And
saying.
and even in the chat, I said that. I said it shouldn't be like that. If I'm playing against UConn, I'm probably not going to shoot 50, 60% out with a team like that. Now, if my team is comparable to a UConn or a Stanford or whatever the case may be, I might shoot better. But
Not
that
go
game
ahead.
plan is going to be for me, and it's going to be difficult. And I'm probably going to shoot. I'm probably going to shoot some bad shots, but it's probably going to be some shots that I normally wouldn't take. It's going to be like that. Like I feel like the percentage against a good team supposed to be a little bit lower.
That's when I. That's just my difference. I think you're supposed to show up in those moments. You're supposed to get the easier shot for your team if the game plan is against you.
But the
So
easier
that's go ahead, Twine. Let's go ahead.
now, no, I was just about to say the easier shot against a good team ain't that easy to get.
Nah, but not if it's because they throwing usually what teams is doing is throwing double teams. I mean, if two people on you, that means somebody open.
Yeah, but then like I was saying, the team itself. If it's me, you, and EJ, and they double teaming me, and I pass it to EJ, and he missed. After a few misses and a few, like, all right, bro, I'm gonna take this shot. I'd rather
Nah,
just
that's bad basketball because you're supposed to trust your teammates no matter what.
yeah,
Nah,
If
but
you
then
miss
it
the
don't.
I'm
follow,
hitting them shots, bro. I'm hitting them shots. Don't front on me. I'm hitting them shots, bro. Don't front on
you don't
me.
got to trust your
Listen,
teammates.
it's been time. Like I said in the chat, I've been in a game where I sat there and I told my teammates, look, y'all play defense, and I'm gonna do the rest. I like that means I'm really not passing y'all the ball. We ended up winning the game, so like it's been games. The games that she shot bad, they won some. They won a lot of them games. So you living and dying by Juju because of the team structure.
So with that being said, what do y'all feel like Juju going into next year? What do y'all feel like she needs to work on to get her team to win more against these better teams? Chess.
I just think she need to trust her teammates. I'm not like my thing is I don't like any ball dominant player. It ain't nothing against Juju. That's from Harden to Luca. I don't like any ball dominant player because at some point you giving up something to have the ball in your hands at all times. Whether
And
it's
I feel like
defense,
she just
effort, or anything, you giving up something.
yeah. I feel like she got to be like playmaking is her next thing. Like she got to, and but at this, but I say that to say also if her teammates have to step up too. Like trusting your teammates is one thing, but after a while, it's like you lose trust too. Hey, I can
For
have all
sure.
the faith in the world.
And that's one of the things I wanted to say also is like Juju's brand of basketball, the way it looks, it doesn't to me, it doesn't look pleasing to basketball purists
Hmm.
because it's I feel like they just let her do what she wants. And so saying that she got a playmaking, right? That's the next evolution of her
Yeah,
game. To Chester's point, like, yo, you got to give your teammates an opportunity to get in the game. And she takes so many shots, and the way she play, it's not conducive to. It's almost like how Kobe and LeBron were. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron's a very dominant player. He passes, but you can't really get into your rhythm unless you're a dude like Kyrie, who every time you get the ball, you're gonna score, or the minimum amount of times you get the ball, you know you're gonna be efficient with it. And so Juju isn't playing with another player like that, so she has to be more patient with her teammates because you know what I mean. You taking 25 shots a game. She
yeah,
shoots 40%, which is decent, but to Chester's point, she definitely has to be a better playmaker going forward, especially for them to win.
yeah. And I don't knock what he said for sure because like I just said, she got to work on playmaking. But if you watch, like I'm saying, if I when I was watching the games, it's almost like her coach or somebody they're asking her to do this. Like they know what their deficiency is. They know like we
Oh,
riding with this.
I don't put bad coaching on players. I 100% believe that coaches, any coach that's running into Juju except for Gino is telling her, yo, the ball is in your hands all
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
So last word on Juju. This is one of the things I always want to touch on too when it comes to women's sports. Do you feel like her popularity will be similar to Caitlyn's? That's a question for both of y'all.
I believe so.
Yeah,
Juju is already on NBA podcasts. Like
right.
Juju has the popularity.
She on
Plays,
commercials.
she has commercials. She doesn't have the fan base, but as far as like your average sports fan knowing her name, she has that. She has that cachet with her name. She has an aura with her name.
Yeah. I by the time she gets to the W, like she'll be a household name. Like I said, I feel like this season right now is gonna be her and Paige all over the place.
And speaking of Paige bringing that up, I think her popularity is going to get there too. Um, I think it's going to get to a height, but I don't think it's going to be bigger than Caitlyn's. And I'm going to say it, and this is one of the more controversial things that I'm going to say on the podcast. I do believe it because Caitlyn is a pretty white, non-gay female. She's going to get her popularity can't top that because the media never knows how to act when they get a white superstar. They never know how to act, and they make it very blatant that they want to get behind their white superstars. I'm not a race guy. I don't really play into a race like that. I'm an equal opportunity guy, but you can always see it in sports in a way because and I'll bring up this one point, then I will go to our next topic. When NIL first got big, right? Everybody knew that it got big because of Angel Reese. And so I understood last year why Angel Reese was pissed off because she was like, yo, I'm doing stuff too. Angel was the one who set this off for the women to get to where they are now. She set the whole thing off. Caitlyn started breaking the records and she was very close to breaking the record. And then that's when it took off. She got the State Farm commercial and all those other things that she got, but Angel was the one who really took it to where it needed to go, and then Caitlyn kind of took it to a new stratosphere. But the reason it got taken to a new stratosphere was because the media got behind Caitlyn so hard that it was something that I had never seen before. And I knew it was because she's a straight, white, pretty female, and then she's very marketable. And so that is the reason why I don't think she's gonna be. I don't think Juju is gonna be on that level because the media is gonna get behind. Is still behind Caitlyn so hard, and they can't hide when they get a top white superstar. And now that you're getting one that isn't gay and that you can market to little girls, that's why you see Nike pouring all this money into the WNBA now. So that's kind of what I think. But what do you guys think about that? Actually, we'll unpack that a little bit too.
I agree with that. It's it's that is what I would call the Eminem effect on like hip hop. So she's gonna have black fans, but she's also gonna tap into white fans that you typically want. It's just like it's not a race thing. It's just they can get behind it. They like they if she represents the minority in that group.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think this what you said is valid for sure. And then I also feel like because Caitlyn was first in a sense, first with the media blow up, like not first as far as like you said, Angel was first with the whole social media, NIL, all that. But with the media blow up, Caitlyn was first, so they gonna ride that wave until the wheels fall off. But I believe in like 3-4 years with it's kind of like how they wanted to paint the magic bird on Angel and Caitlyn. I feel like Juju and Paige kind of gonna take a little bit of uh that stardom from Caitlyn, and when they get to the W, because they probably gonna go to the W together, that'll be that magic bird thing, that the real magic bird, because they play similar roles, they play similar positions, they really gonna be going at each other in real games. So I think that will take a little bit of the fire away from Caitlyn in about 2 or 3 years.
And one of the things that I thought was very interesting, I do agree. They probably when Paige and Juju both go into the WNBA, I do believe they'll have that buzz, that magic and bird buzz. One of the things I want to believe, and this will be my last point, is that out of the 16 games that the WNBA had that had over a million views, a million watchers, I believe 15 of them was Fever games. So, that's Caitlin Clark's, that's what she brings to the WNBA, that amount of viewership, right? So I think that Juju and Paige can bring a similar amount of viewership. I'm gonna be very interested to see how the media blows that up. So that'll be something for us to watch, going forward. So as we move forward into our next topic, we're gonna switch to the NBA. And I got to thinking about this topic because one of my guys I work with from our sports agency, shout out to Glory Sports Agency. They're big Boston Celtics fans, and they let me know about it endlessly. And so one of the things I got to thinking about was, as they're talking to me, they were saying that they feel like Boston is going to be the next dynasty in terms of having similar success to what the Warriors have. And when you look at the roster and you look at it from top to bottom, you got Brown, Tatum, Drew Holiday, White, um, the other dude coming off the bench, the guy I forgot his name. I think it's Pittman coming off the bench. Pritchard, like
Richard.
all of these guys that they have that can come and contribute. That it does warrant some unpacking of do can they establish a dynasty? I mean, they have two of their top guys, Tatum and Brown, both locked up for the long term, or both with, I believe, with $300 million contracts, I believe, for both of them. So the question is, will the Celtics be the next dynasty? Prime, you start.
Uh, I don't. I won't say. I feel like they won't be a dynasty, but I feel like they'll make a run at it. So because they locked up those five, and then probably get Pritchard to sign another one for at least another 2 or 3 years. They'll be they'll be in a running and for a champion, like another championship or two or whatever the case. But one, I don't think I think teams are going to keep getting better. So teams are going to keep getting better. Uh, like even I'll throw out Philly because I felt like last year the only team that could have beat Philly was, I mean, could have beat Boston if it was possible, was a healthy Joel Embiid. Um, but it's gonna be those top 3 or 4 teams that gonna apply some pressure to them. The NBA itself, the NBA itself is not gonna allow them to be a dynasty. The money situations, the the player mobility, like there's going to be a team that's going to come around and is going to have 2 or 3 little stars on it some way somehow. Somebody's going to figure it out, finesse it. Um, and so I don't think winning 3, 4, 5 in a row is going to happen. I mean, not in a row, but in like 3 out of 5, 4 out of 6. I don't think those are going to happen no time soon again. Um, until like another collective bargaining, until they figure out how to be able to keep these teams and these players together for a longer period of time. But also the media with the Boston Celtics is they're working to try to break them up. Like they actually like they put they putting some time in to try to get them to like go their separate ways, especially with the Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Like they want that bad, and I feel like it might not be on purpose, but subconsciously the media is like trying to break them apart. And if they can work through that, and if uh Joe can get them to stay focused, they can, I will say they can make a run at it, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
I'm gonna just put this number out there. They're expected to pay 66 million in luxury tax. No, like all it takes is an injury, and the owner is breaking that up because who's paying 66 million extra to lose? It's just that simple. Like you can't. I don't know any owner that's cool with paying out extra money and losing, and that's what they are. I think they're just one injury away from being blown up at any given time. And who else? It's just too much money. It's not enough money for that team. It's what you gonna do with Derek
Uh,
White when he got to re up. What you gonna do with
they,
Chris Stapps? He's got to re up in either next year or the year after. So the money, like you're not gonna invest more money into that. So I don't believe it's a dynasty, but I do believe they have the chance to go back to back for sure.
I'll push back this a little bit because I don't know if you guys, I don't know if I sent this article to you, but I was reading it the other day and I saw it on Twitter that Jeff Bezos is trying to buy a piece of the Celtics. And so it only takes an owner similar to like Steve Ballmer, and I think Bezos is gonna be that type of owner that's willing to pay these luxury tax dollars because they got it for real, for real. You know what I mean? And so I agree with you, Prime, on a point about the media. I think that will be the biggest threat to them because if you watch how Brown and them play together, I have always said that they play like they don't like each other. They really play like they do not, they cannot stand each other. I feel like coming into this year, and if you watch a lot of their games, I feel like they tolerate each other and they know how to win. And I give credit to Joe Mazzulla for actually keeping both of their heads on straight for not blowing it up. And then it's even more evident in the finals this year where they were just killing Jason Tatum. They was killing him all finals, talking about he wasn't doing this and he wasn't doing that. And Jaylen Brown was doing this thing, looking like the best player on the team, and they just consistently killing him game after game for deferring to the guy who was actually hot, playing solid, sound basketball. So I agree with you. I think the media is going to be a bigger issue than the money because NBA has already taken advantage of private equity, like the NFL is about to do. And so guys like Jeff Bezos who can get a minority share, and other rich billionaires can come and get, like, I don't think like the luxury tax is going to be that big of an issue for them because they're just going to pay to keep winning. What they've been saying is sports teams are the safest investments around now, right? So if you invest in a sports team, you're almost guaranteed to get your money back. So a guy like Bezos, who almost has a monopoly on everything in terms of content, clothing, all anything that you can name, you don't think he'll pay $366 million in luxury tax to keep on winning? I think he will.
Oh yeah, I forgot to even mention the play on ball. I don't know. It might be different because of Team USA. Team USA might spark a fire under them to play together because you can't say nothing. JB didn't make the team. JT didn't get any playing time, and they played Derek White. So it's like you really like they got motivation to come back this year. And if that don't bring them any closer, then I think it'll just be done after this year.
Yeah, nah, that I also think that the Team USA situation definitely gonna give that fire at least this year. Now, i- if you look at any dynasty that we have outside of the Golden State Warriors, Golden State got a dynasty because they had a core three. They really wrapped around the core three that was just amazing. Like they they were ahead of the curve when it came to roster building and all this other stuff. So I think that's why that worked out. But if you look at Shaq and Kobe, if you look at Jordan and the Bulls, or even with Jordan and Pippen and Jordan, like with the teammates and the Detroit Pistons, they ain't make it to the third one, but like so it was always something. Like it's something that's always in the way. And in the world of social media these days, it's even extra added on. Like it's gonna be tough. They Golden State, I don't want to say they got lucky, but kind of they did. They got lucky that they got two. They had a mild mannered Steph Curry who
All right.
yeah. So with Golden State, it was just you got Steph Curry who was mild mannered. Clay Thompson at the time he wasn't asking for much. Like he was out there just having fun shooting. And then you got Draymond who he was like the crazy uncle keeping everybody together and type junk. So like
And he
you
was
had that.
also a second round pick, which that helped them with the money.
Exactly right. Like so, like even the money situation. I mean, after a while, they started tapping into the little luxury tax too, but they was winning. But it helped early on. Like Chester said, it helped early on for at least like the first 4 or 5 years where they didn't have to pay that much or whatever. But it was really the personalities of those three that kept everything together, and then they just wrapped it around that. The personalities of JT and JB, like that's vital. Like they like that could blow up at any moment. That can go left. Porzingis, he he a little frail to some too. Like Chester was saying, an injury here, injury there. Drew Holiday, he found out that he can go to any team and bring a championship. Not any team, but at least a top contender team. Went back to back on his own. So like it's it's a lot of variables and to keep that team together to become a dynasty, unless they just all come together and just be like, this is what we want. But in this NBA today, I don't think that they be thinking like that for real.
I've overlooked the Team USA situation. I hope it brings them together. Honestly, I just don't think it is, man. Just because if you look at Jason Tatum, like even when he won the finals, right when it was all over,
Just
his
killing it.
personality is just like I want the spotlight to be on me. Like it was all on him, and I feel like Jalen Brown is one of these guys. He's like me. He wears his chip on his shoulder in every situation in life. You know what I mean? So he's not gonna let anybody slight him because his chip is so large. And so both of their personalities, I don't feel like they mesh to where one is gonna defer. Even though they're both signed long term, I really believe that I don't think it's gonna stay. I don't think it's gonna stay together. So I'm gonna officially say I don't think they're gonna be a dynasty. Just for what you said at the beginning, like I think the media are really gonna pry them apart
So you think
because of
one of
both
them
of
gonna
their.
pull a Kyrie?
I think one of them gonna pull a Kyrie. I don't know who. If I had to bet money, if I had to do betting odds, I would go with Jason Tatum, just because. his personality is just like that. It got to be about him. I'm not saying he's selfish. I'm just saying that I don't know if he's going to be willing to take a backseat to Jaylen Brown for an entire year and then have to endure what the media is going to say about him on top of that because he doesn't handle it well.
I
Yeah, you
blame
just
When
seen
he
what
Jay-Z.
happened
said,
with Team USA. His mom was talking to Steve Kerr about them winning a gold medal.
Right.
see stuff like that, bro. And then, again, that's another thing too. You know, you got the familial pressures that's pushed behind you, and a lot of these players go through that. I remember they brought that point up about Kyrie, about how his father used to be like crazy like LeVar Ball, and no one ever knew about that. But he was just as crazy as LeVar Ball, but he was more quiet about it. And so I believe you. I didn't know that Jason Tatum's mother talked to Steve Kerr, but I believe it because a lot of these parents do that stuff. There are a lot of these basketball parents, they do that and they get involved in stuff like that. So like I said, if I had to put betting odds on it, man, I'm betting that JT's gonna be gone, man, because I his personality is just too much. It got to be about him.
I got two things. I low key feel like it's the NBA fault when it comes to Jason Tatum because they try to push him real crazy when
Yeah, I
after
agree.
he did that dunk on LeBron and chest bumped him and all that, they started going a little wild thinking that he was the next one up and he really ain't that. And then I think that JB will leave before Jason Tatum will leave because I feel like JB the more stronger. Like he's the more like you say he wear a chip. He the one that's gonna want to be like I'll leave and I'll show you that who I really am type Jill. I think he'll pull one of them. I think he gonna be the one to leave if anything.
So with that, it gets you to thinking, which teams in the NBA do you believe will be the biggest threat to the Celtics in terms of playing them and being able to beat them in a 7 game series? And I'm just gonna strictly just keep it to the East. I had two teams in mind. You have brought one to my attention. You know, just because, like I said, I'm in football mode, so I'm all football. But I forgot that the Sixers got Paul George, and as much as people have their opinions on Paul George, left or right, you know what I mean. Like Paul George has probably been one of the most discussed players in the past year because you got people that have a cult following who love him, like the kids. They love Paul George and they want to be like him, i.e., Cayenne Anthony, who models his whole game after Paul George. And then you got the people like Chester who are like, Paul George is a loser, and why is people following a dude who's a loser? You know what I mean? And so what, like
That's
my man Evan Turner said,
crazy.
bro, that's what, and I was bringing it because that's what Evan Turner said. Evan Turner is like, yo, you bringing a team full of losers. Basically, that's what he said. You bringing a team full of losers together. However, you can't ignore the amount of talent that they have on that team in terms of their top three. I mean, they're really top heavy. There was it Embiid, Paul George, and Maxey. And we saw what Maxey did in the playoffs last year. Showed that he's stamped. You know, he can get it done in high pressure situations. So, but if I had to pick a team who was going to be a threat to the Celtics, I'm going to pick the Knicks. Just because they're a hard nosed team. They got Mikael Bridges. They got a lot of defenders, a lot of guys who can switch. I just don't know what they're gonna do about Porzingis in the 7 game series though, because I don't like Mitchell Robinson and I don't like their bigs, and they lost the other dude, the big guy who they
Arkansas.
say, yeah, Harkenstein, the one that they say is black, but he looked white.
He bright skinned.
Yeah, right, he very bright skinned. But who do you guys feel will be the biggest threat to the Celtics in the East?
Nobody. I don't have the Knicks because I don't know what they're doing with Julius Randle, and I don't think Julius Randle can do anything with anybody on their front court. He might be able to shut down Al Horford, I guess, but that's about it. And I don't believe in Philly. I just watched a video of Paul George getting locked up in China. I'm good on that. So I don't think anybody out of the East. The biggest can like the it all depends on what happens with the Orlando Magic. If they elevate their game to the next level this year after, going to their first playoff series together last year, it'll be a challenge, but I would still give the edge to the Boston Celtics.
So I don't think that I don't believe in the Knicks. Period. I think they're just too small. First of all, they when it comes down to it, they're not big enough. Um, and I said that last year. I said that in last season. I was just like they play hard, but Tibbs gonna run them into the ground. They gonna if it do make it to a game 7, they ain't gonna be able to perform in a game 7. But at least the ones that need to. And then I always, when it comes to the NBA, I'm always gonna think that Joel Embiid um, is a big difference because of how they treat him on the court. He You see, like even if he when in the USA games, like he wasn't getting the calls he normally get in the NBA, so it kind of looked like he wasn't producing. Then he finally started figuring some stuff out. But in the NBA, it's different. I feel like he is that X factor when it comes to a team like Boston. Like he can mess them up a little bit. I don't think besides them, Chester said it. One that I was thinking, like that Orlando Magic team, maybe not next year, but if they keep the ball rolling the way that it's going, the year after, maybe 2-3 years from now, like they will mess up whatever dynasty that Boston think they'll have going on. Um, and I mean, who knows? We get another year of Dame and Giannis. We see how that go. I don't think it's gonna pan out the way that we think that they thought it would, but who knows what the front office might do, get some guys over there or whatever. But my if I had to choose anybody, I still would choose Philly just because of Embiid and the NBA. But 2-3 years down the line, it might be Orlando.
Um, before we get to the Magic and why, because both of you guys sound pretty bullish on them. Um, I want to understand why you're not bullish on the Bucks. Seeing that Giannis, by all regards, in the past 4 or 5 years, been the best player in the league. So for some people, from all of the top guys, I don't know if he's your best player, but he been the best player. If I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, he wasn't healthy the majority of the season. And then on top of that, I do not like the swap of having Dame in for Drew Holiday. I don't like that swap because, as you see with what Drew Holiday does on the court, not only can he knock down open shots, but he can guard on the perimeter. Dame can't do any of that, and Dame's 34, older, and all Dame can really do, to me, all Dame can really do is give you buckets. The game is about buckets, obviously, but as y'all both know, as being astute basketball people, at a certain point in time, you need the other things. You need the defense. You need the IQ. You need the passing, and I don't feel like Dame does enough of that to win. I'm not saying he's a loser, but he does play a losing brand of basketball. So I want to understand why you guys aren't bullish on the Bucks, more bullish on the Bucks.
Mine's is just the lineups that they put out there. They don't make any sense. I think if you're gonna have Giannis, you need four knockdown shooters, and they always have Dame and Bobby Portis. And there's no other knockdown shooter for Giannis to have that kind of space that he needs. And then you also need Giannis to knock down shots, because Dame, even though Dame is taking his man away from the basket, his man isn't really in the way. His man is usually going to be a point guard. When you got people that's willing to play off Brook, they're not playing off of him all game, but they're willing to pack the paint. They'll give up the three to stop Giannis, and I just don't think you can throw Brook Lopez out there as your next knockdown shooter. You need a shooting guard that's just as lethal as Dame for the spacing.
You,
That's it. And if
you don't
you
like
can,
Chris Middleton?
Chris Middleton's older. I think he's gonna be like a great six man. He's not gonna be the Chris Middleton of that championship run. Not anymore. He's older, a little more wear and tear on the body. He was also hurt at the end of the season, so it's they gotta find a way to make that team better. And also they have Doc Rivers. We don't have to talk about that. Like
That's Prime's guy. Prime's favorite coach, Doc Rivers.
we all have this thing
Don't
that
even lie to them like that.
nobody respects Dane, not Dane, but Doc as a coach. Like they actually got worse after they got rid of a rookie coach. So that's all you need to know about that situation.
That's number one. Doc Rivers is over there, so that's my leading factor into all this is Doc Rivers is the coach. secondly, like Chester was saying, they don't have the shooting. Like that championship run that they had, um, there was a little more shooting than they have now. So like Giannis kind of does need spacing, and it will depend on if Giannis develops that shooting, like uh his shooting. Like he has to develop his shooting to create those lineups like Chester was saying. Like certain lineups, he might have to step out and be able to operate on the perimeter more than just being a slasher, getting into the paint. And because he's basically a perimeter big man. Like everything he does has to end up at the basket. He's just not posting up with it. He's taking it from the perimeter and going to or foul line down, and then so they don't have the shooters around him. He's not a shooter, and then I don't watching Dame and Giannis. I don't know how they games coexist. They they don't mesh well. Like the things that Dame want to do doesn't work with where Giannis is on the court, and like even they can't even get a pick and roll with them two. Like that, even that didn't. It just didn't feel right.
That is crazy when you think about it.
Right, exactly. Because that when they made that trade, that was the first thing I thought. I was like, yo, pick and roll with Dame and Giannis is freaking lethal. Like like how you guard that? How do you guard that? And they couldn't make that work. So like, and then Doc Rivers came over and it didn't help nothing either. So now we got Dame, who is a great scorer or whatever the case. But then, like you said, we're we don't even have no defense on this team now. Outside of Bobby Portis and Giannis, I mean Brook Lopez, he does his good. He did he rim protect a little bit or whatever the case may be. But on the perimeter, who like I don't even know anybody who guard the small forward, the shooting guards. Like there's nobody guarding on the perimeter. And now that we have a perimeter game, you need somebody to do something out there. So and even with Jay, I think Jay Crowder was over there, but he didn't play much. He didn't do like it wasn't he not that Jay Crowder anymore in a sense. So like they got a lot of things to work out, and then it might take a couple years for that all to work out. But they professionals, so who knows? But as long as they got Doc Rivers, I'll never think that they gonna do nothing.
And you're right. I agree with you. I don't think their games mesh either. And they don't have a couple. That's the thing. They don't have a couple years to figure it out. Dame's
Right?
what 34.
Yeah.
They don't have a couple years to figure it out, and they swapped a big name for a role player that they actually need. So I I don't think they have time. So really quickly, I want you to explain to to the people why both you guys are bullish on the Magic, because I want to hear this too. I follow the Magic just because this girl I'm cool with, she really liked the Magic, so I watched a couple of their games, and I think the only dudes I really know is Paulo and what was it, France Wagner. But other than that, why are you guys bullish on the Magic?
I'm bullish on
Chester.
the Magic because they have the size to to combat whatever they have going. Like a lot of people don't understand that Paulo is KD height, but he's stronger, so he can go one-on-one matchups with JT. He has the height for that. He has the height to go with Chris Stapps, and he has the strength. You got Mo Wagner coming off the bench. He has the motor that most people don't. Most centers don't have it. They have enough scoring, they have enough defense, and they have enough shooting. Like even though that was their first playoff appearance, like they looked really well against the Cavs. And if it wasn't for Donovan Mitchell on that team, they get out of that round. So it's just that they match up well with them. I think I watched them not this year that passed, but the year before. I think they swept them, and that's what really got my antennas about them playing Boston. I was like, oh, if they can sweep them, they definitely can, beat them in the series. Even though it's different in the regular season and the playoffs, but to do it in a season, beating a team 4 times in anywhere is just hard.
Yeah, nah, I agree with that too. Like the team makeup is set up to be uh something special because and then with the advent of KCP, he's a champion. So like now they they get that championship pedigree from the in the locker room and he's not old but he's not young but he's not that old either, so like he'll be around for a little while to like mold that team, mold those guys, even the guards, like and in the NBA now, like the guards are the focal point. So like if you can get a championship guard to show you how you need to move and what you need to do and how we need to get here and what the ways to get you to the next level, um from the guard play, that's huge. And then Paulo, I just think Paulo is one of them guys. Like he wants to be one of them guys too. He's like a quieter version of Anthony Edwards to me. Like he thinks he's that dude and he wants to be that dude. He just don't talk a lot. He's just not in the media. Like he's not in a microphone all the time, and he's not in the media all the time. But he'll let you know, like, I'm really like that for real. And he showed it. Shoot, when the rest of the team couldn't score, he put them on his back. Like, look, if we gonna lose, we gonna lose because I'm trying. Like like we if we gonna get if we going out, like, trust me, we going out with a bang. So I think Paulo is, to me, if you don't consider him a superstar now, I think he'll be one. So they are. I feel like they got a young superstar. They got the shooting, they got the defense. They have the young guards, and then now they have the veteran presence. So like it's all coming together as long as they keep moving in that same direction.
There you have it. Chester and Prime both bullish on the Magic. That's their sleeper team for 2024, 2025. The Orlando Magic. I love it, man. I love it. All right, so we're going to transition to our last segment. And our last segment is a very controversial and hot button topic. It dominates a lot of the content that we see on social media these days. And so as a result, we're going to talk about it ourselves. So, one of the things that I think is important is to understand the male experience. And one of the things that I said to both of you guys that when we went to dinner at Ferraris is like our experiences are not as far off as most may seem. Like a lot of that's why I respect men so much more now, because our experiences are very similar. So the question is for everyone is, what do you think is the biggest challenges for men dating women in 2024? So
I'm gonna
Chester,
just
you had a very
I'm gonna tell you
controversial
off top.
take.
It's just men's fault. Men don't. They set their standards too low. They accept the first woman that comes to them instead of just being stern. Like a lot of women that be in men life shouldn't be there.
Wow.
Like like if you really think about it, whenever I hear about a man and he telling me about a woman that he with, it's like this the scale is tipping, but it's never tipping in his favor. It's like 100 to 0 in effort and time, all of that. So like a lot of men, to me, they just settling for the first woman that comes to them instead of just being stern, standing on their morals, and you know dealing with women that actually like them. So
I
that's
I
all
I
I get
would
at.
I would definitely piggyback off that, and I'm speaking I'm speaking for myself as myself. That was one of my issues too. Like, and then you got to factor in, because I heard this on some of the podcasts too. Like, most men, they do not get any love from a woman that's not their mom, right? So most men don't understand what it is to have another woman that's not their mother or their aunt or their sister show them love. You know what I mean? And so when you factor that in, to your point, Chess, yes, the first girl that shows me love, I'm gonna gravitate to her because I've never had this before. And like anything, it's just like even with money. When you've never had money before, you have to adjust to having a crap ton of money. And it's the same thing with women. When you've never had women before, you have to adjust to having a bunch of women. And usually, like you said, usually the first one you gravitate to. But the second point you made was even better. Men do not stand on business, right? And I just had this conversation, with the young man Sunday, and telling him because his thing is, he's trying to grow himself, he's trying to be better. He's got a job, he's trying to get out on his own and do his thing. But he's telling me, he's like, hey, the women in my life are trying to, tell me that I'm being misogynistic and I'm being this and I'm being that because I'm trying to build myself up and I'm trying to move into this era of where I'm trying to be confident. I'm trying to be more masculine. Like I'm trying to just be an alpha, and I'm trying to do that in a holistic way. And so that point that you made about certain women shouldn't be around certain men, I agree with that, man. And Prime, what do you think about what Chester said in terms of the 2 points that he made?
I do think that we like y'all both said, kind of like it's like men was they settle with that first person, but I like EJ point because it's like when you finally get it, you kind of like you don't want to let it go, even when it
Hmm.
like even when it starts fading, you still remember when you got it. So it's like maybe I can get it back. Maybe like so now you staying longer than what you may you probably should be, but um yeah, like I think that that is one, and then two, for me, I feel like kind of what Chester was saying too, though, when it comes to like with the women is with social media, like social media is
That was
creating.
mine. That was the one I was gonna say. You took.
Yeah, but because it's so huge, because it's from so many avenues and aspects of social media. It's not even just because of social media. Like social media is making it where men are trying to live up to something that they probably can't. Then there's women that want something that most men can't give them. Then it's even when you're in a relationship now, that social media presence is something totally different. Like now I gotta show this and I gotta, so it's like everything is society based because of social media, and it's like you gotta, we're most most people are trying to live up to what's being shown on social media when actually that's not even the real life of what's actually going on. So now when a man's trying to date, it's like I gotta have this, I gotta have that, I gotta have this because that woman wants this, want that, but I don't know how to obtain this, or this might not even be my makeup. Even with the guys who be on social media, like, and you see a lot of videos like there's certain men who be like, oh, they have their podcast or whatever, and they're like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got, and it's like every guy can't provide that. Every guy isn't that. Like you got to take what you have in yourself or what that guy can provide, because the guy who can provide that might not be able to provide you something else. Like so everything is not a blanket situation, it's not a generalized thing, but when it comes to social media, it's like everything is so focused on, and it flips, right? So
Hmm.
like one day is everybody wants this person or this guy or this woman, then this next day is like, oh, now that's whack now, or you sassy now if you do this, and it's like, so like now you if you buy your girl flowers, you sassy, like, whoa, wait, when did that happen? Like
Right.
last month y'all wanted flowers. like
It,
it's like, where we going with this? So like it's, I feel
yeah.
like social media is just creating a situation that it's like dangling a prize that you can't reach.
Absolutely, bro. And one of the things, piggybacking off of that social media point, is just like what you were saying. It creates a very false perception of what relationships and, like you said, men are actually in real life. And then on top of that, social media has also allowed women to have inflated value,
Hmm.
right? So most women, that's one of the biggest things that I told somebody the other day. The biggest issue to me, and I'm stating my biggest issue. So my first one is social media, and I think the second one is the ego and pride of women. Period, across the board. Their pride and their ego of over inflating their own value, it seeps into everything that they do, and social media fuels that. And I know a lot of girls seen a lot of women, black and white and all the other. It's not a race thing. It's a women gender thing where they feel like if this girl got that type of man, I'm prettier than her. I know I'm supposed to get that type of man, right? But when it's really not like that, when it's really you don't know what that woman is doing in his life to add that level of value, and most women don't know how to add value, and then they don't want to take advice from men when they tell them how to add the value. You know what I mean? So it's just a whole ass backward situation. You don't want to listen to the men that's telling you what they want. You want to listen to your single friend who has no man, who's just getting ran through by a bunch of guys. And so from that standpoint, I think social media is messed up. It's overinflated women's egos and is given, to your point, Prime, is given a very false pretense of what relationships actually are. Most women that you see on social media and today, especially the modern women, they want to stand at the finish line. They don't want to ride with that man through the whole journey. And see, that's another big issue. You're not going to be a high value man overnight. Matter of fact, there's not enough high value men to go around. So not every woman is going to be able to get a high value man, no matter how pretty you are. It's not just about being pretty. But most women think that their prettiness can solve everything, and that's another issue, man. This is a topic that I can stay on all day, but we just wanted to kind of get just a couple points as to what we feel like the biggest issue that faces men in the dating market today. Um, but this is one
This
thing I
could
want
be
to
a
touch
full
on too.
segment for Ari.
It could be a full segment, but this is one of the things I want to touch on too, because I want to always help the women out because there are good women, but as we know, as three young black gentlemen, we know that our black women, I'm just going to say it, this is going to be another controversial thing that I say. They have not been conditioned or trained on how to take care of a man. They have been conditioned and trained to get away from men. So if we, so this is a question for both of y'all. For the woman in 2024, what do you think is the best thing that they can do to add value to a man's life? That's a great question.
It's it's not that. I just think the good women that are out there, they're just not coming outside. They're going to work and they're going home. They're taking care of their children. Like they're the good women. It's good women out there. It's a lot of them. It's like they're just so rare to find because they're focused on their life. And by the time that somebody get there, they done already said forget men. So the women that we have to choose from, that's why I'm saying it's a men problem because the women that's outside, yeah, they outside, but it's a reason they outside. Like nobody wants them. Like it's just what it is. Like yeah, somebody wants you to have fun, but ain't nobody trying to wife you. And then once they do get wifed, and they basically want like the dude that they find, they want him to be perfect, and it's like, girl, your track history don't even add up to being with somebody of this statue. Like it don't. So that's
So
why I'm
Chester, what do you say? What do you say to the girl that says past actions don't matter?
That's a lie because it's just a lie because if past actions didn't matter, women wouldn't care about nobody past, and we know women do. They do faxes on dudes. They figure out who they were before they got with them and all of this extra stuff. So it's just like you can't. That's why I don't blame women because women in the Bible it says they wicked. It's like the Bible is letting you know this. Like that's been quoted from for thousands of years ago. So it ain't like this is anything new. It's only up for the men to lead. And if men don't take the lead on these women, they just gonna do what they do.
Yeah,
I have.
but
Go ahead, Ryan.
yeah, nah, I was just saying. I think it's just the overall showing. Like, if I had to narrow it down to anything, like just the show of appreciation of who the guy is. Period. Like, if you choose this guy, or if you decide to date this guy, or whatever, like whatever he brings, like that's the show the appreciation for that instead of trying to search or create something else. Like if if he turns around and provides you with something that you might feel like you want or need or whatever, like you're thankful for it. But if he doesn't, then it's like you can have those conversations or whatever and try to encourage it. But if for whatever reason it's just not his makeup, like the things that he does provide for you, like just be grateful and thankful and like appreciate and show that type of appreciation for that space of it. So I would just say this like showing appreciation go a long way for guys.
And
I agree.
the double on that is like women have gotten so used to men not trying is that when they do get a dude that show the effort, it's like they mad. I remember I was looking and they was like the whole 150-50 thing, and it's like, all right, so you'd rather be a woman and pay 100%, but a dude that comes into your life, you want them to give up. You don't want to do. You want to go from 100 to zero instead of 100 to 50-50, and really that ain't no real man that take you from 100 to zero, because what happens to him if something was to unfortunately happen to him, now what? Now you got to figure it out. Like, no, that's why it's partners. It's not just one person leading, it's partners. He's leading you and showing you how to get it on your own, just in case something happens to him. And then you're also getting the benefit of having somebody take off half of your life responsibilities. And women still complain about that.
Yeah, that would be my second one, the partnership thing. Like you gotta actually understand and learn how to be partners. Like it's almost like playing on it. Well, it is playing on the same team.
It
Like
is playing on the team.
yeah,
Yeah,
you got like I feel like a lot of athletic women who are in successful relationships is because they've been on teams, and you learn how to play on a team. And it's like sometimes I'm a bear 100% because you down, or I'm a bear that's 80, or you might have to pick me up. Like so, and it's not a I'm not gonna hold that over your head because we're a team. We're supposed to be doing this type deal. So I would say the partnership thing is huge. Learning how to be a partner.
absolutely, man. I like to say teammate because the partner thing is so
Teammate,
they don't like that term. They don't,
teammate,
it's like a buzzword, but I say teammate, and I
yeah,
agree with both of y'all 100%.
teammate.
That's why now when I talk to women and field them as to if I want to be in a relationship, I always ask like, yo, how are you with conflict resolution, and be honest about it. I say that every time. How are you with conflict resolution? Because if we teammates, right, and we learn how to work together, you gotta learn me and I gotta learn you. I gotta learn what makes you tick. You gotta learn what makes me tick, and you gotta learn how to talk to me. I remember one of the greatest things I ever heard from a woman on one of these reels was that women need to learn how to speak to the king in their man. And when I heard that, I was so taken back by it because it's a fact. You know what I'm saying? And that goes all back to, being a partner. Like you have to learn how to speak to your man. And the same for with men, you have to learn how to speak to your woman. So I agree with those points about, learning how to be a partner, learning how to be um, work together as a cohesive team. And then just to expound upon that point, most women, want to get married, and most women want to, have children. It comes into a play even more if you want to have children, you want to have a family. So the whole partnership teammate thing, I think, is a very interesting um thing for women to provide value for their man, and their appreciation thing. I agree. We women, again, women have gotten very used to men going above and beyond for them, being just chivalrous in every aspect that they don't appreciate it as much anymore. And again, Chester, like you said, when they do get a guy that does it and that's trying to do it, I feel like it doesn't get as appreciated, or it's like it swings in the opposite way where they think it's like, this dude's weird, for showing me this much love and appreciation and chivalry, at the beginning. So again, this is a topic that we can talk about all day. We got great points. We got great points for both men and women. We're gonna explore these topics a lot more in the coming weeks and months as we start podcasting a lot more consistently. Um, we're gonna go back around and we're gonna tell the people where they can find us, so you guys can interact with us, and hit us up on Twitter and hit us up on our socials so we can have some interactions and you can watch our content. So Chester, tell the people where they can find you again, where they can interact with you.
Right now is Chester Math 89 Chester Matt CHESTERMAT 89155. But I'm gonna try to change the name. By the time we get the next podcast up, try to change it to like ham and turkey bees or something like that.
I like it. I like it. All right, Prime, tell the people where they can find you so they can interact with you.
Yeah, yeah. I'm on Twitter at Prime22. I'm on IG at JH Prime22. I think that's right. Yeah. If you put JH Prime, you'll find me. But I think it's JH Prime 22 on IG. But yeah, nah. I'm on all social media, but you find me there.
And you can find me on Twitter mostly. That is mainly where I do all of my work. That is where I give all my hot takes. That is where I interact and antagonize Bill's Mafia. So you can watch all those antics too. So that's gonna be at eDaniel77 on X. And if you follow me, I will most certainly interact with you. So again, we appreciate you guys for sticking with us and watching our long form content. This will be posted on YouTube, and we would appreciate if you can just watch it and let it run for the entire time so we can get our views up and get our minutes up so we can monetize our lovely podcast. So again, for Prime and Chester and myself, we will see you again on the next pod, the Ham and Turkey.